Hello, hello. I'm back in Turku and now I have time to look at the last two games I played in Helsinki. In fourth round I faced Jan Ristoja, FIDE Master. I played him a bunch of times, usually in Blitz and Rapid, and usually with really good results. But yeah, this time a long game. He usually plays some funky openings, but this time he actually plays pretty decent, just like normal way of handling Dutch. And yeah, this is Leningrad Dutch. I think it's the best Dutch there is. It's still risky, but it's reasonable. Queen C2. So I played Dutch a lot, studied a little bit. So my theoretical knowledge is not like that great. Like even Queen C2 I've faced a lot of times. But even here I was just kind of like trying to remember what to do. Even though like I played this so many times, I should know a lot more. But yeah, can't be perfect. Knight a6, I mean this is just normal. Knight is coming here to attack the queen. A3 stops that. Queen e8. So at least this much I kind of remembered. Like e4, e5. And that's pretty much it. Um, if you play queen c7 with the same idea, I think there are some tactical problems like this. Take here. I mean, if black takes on d4 or white takes on d6, and then kind of e5 thingy. Queen e8, rook d1, kind of strange. Doesn't really go well with queen c2. e5, d5. Again, this is like a strange just way of playing. Usually white plays, for example, here. So after e5, they can take here or here. So here he played in a strange way. So I thought maybe c5 is good. Um, I was kind of didn't want to allow, I don't know, knight b5 or knight e6. Um, somehow I mean, they felt okay, but I wanted even more, and I felt like c5 would give me that. But actually, c5 is a little mistake. Here he could have played e4, and somehow computer likes white like a lot. Like it's kind of like a King's Indian position, but somehow, yeah, so somehow black can't get anything on the king side. There are sometimes some kind of knight b5 thing is. Um, somehow knight h4 can be annoying. Like white can take, and somehow he will blow up the center, and I will get nothing. I don't know, this is always somewhat difficult for humans to understand and would require quite a bit of studying. And you can do that on your own, but I won't go into the details. Especially even like I myself have some trouble. But yeah, instead b3. b3 is definitely weird. Like I definitely understand like e4 is the right move to play, but I just wouldn't understand that it would be so good for white. Yeah, b3 is just a slow move, and now I get what I wanted. Like usually in the Leningrad Dutch, if black can play e4, he's at least okay. Knight g5. Now kick the knight. White could sacrifice here. I mean, that's kind of like the usual way. Sacrifice the pawn to get some activity. Knight can jump here. D6 is kind of weak. But instead he just goes back. I play knight c7, stopping knight b5. a4, another really strange move. Like, it's just kind of very unpositional. I mean, it looks like he wants to play knight b5, knight takes b5, a takes b5, opening up the rook file. But it just looks so weird, so strange that it just can't be right. g5, locking up the knight. f3. Okay, now he wants to finally open up the position a little bit. Maybe the knight can go to f2. Knight s6, aiming for b4, knight b5. Another move that surprised me, because he could play bishop a3 with the idea of taking the knight, but instead he allows my knight to come with tempo. I just protect the pawn. And next I want to kick the knight away. King h1. Once more, another surprise. And yeah, I could also like always play e3, like in many moments. Basically, it's just locking up the king side and just showing how bad the knight and the bishop are. But I wanted to play more dynamic. So I took an f3. Computer was saying like f4 was even stronger. It's just kind of like a easier way to win, I guess, with something like this. Um, or was it even here and then g4? Well, either case, I played another, let's say, in my opinion, more interesting idea. Knight g4, just sacrificing a knight for what looks like nothing. But there's like a hidden idea. One thing we should note that, of course, a rook is hanging on a1, but we don't want to take it because queen can just take back. But if white takes my knight, I take back, and now I'm gonna play bishop f5, and the queen is trapped on b1. And I'm also attacking the knight. And if the queen moves like to e4, well, then maybe I can take the rook on a1. So because of all these tactics, white decided to play rook a2. And again, very strange move. Something I didn't think about at all. I mean, bishop b2 makes sense. But then I get my knight to e3, and the knight is really strong. But yeah, rook a2. Just giving up the exchange. Here I thought for a while playing knight e3, but then I decided not to allow these complications and just went back. And I'm just an exchange up with, yeah, white basically has zero counterplay. I just develop my pieces here. g4. Yeah, I was contemplating of playing g4 or f4. f4, I think, positionally looks better. And I think it was also the best move according to the computer. Because when you play g4, this basically you leave the f4 square for white. Like, he might be able to put the knight there, and it's kind of risky. But I feel like maybe this is easier to win. with g4. So my idea was to exchange the knight, and if king g1, this bishop d4. If bishop g2, I'm gonna play queen e2, exchange the queens. Queen g2 instead happened. Bishop c3. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like look like a cool move. My idea is that if bishop d2, I'm gonna take it, and I might also have some kind of bishop b4 ideas, attacking the knight. I'm not sure. It's like I just kind of look like I like the look of how much it controls white's position. And rook e7. I could have exchanged the rooks, which was my first idea, but somehow I thought it might be even easier to win with two rooks on. And this one again, I like the. Basically, I'm just playing a control game. I'm stopping in ID3, not giving him any counterplay. Um, I should note that a lot of these moves, computer doesn't agree. Like these are all like minor inaccuracies. And basically he says that I should just try to play b5 with some kind of rook b8, b5. But I always felt like he would get some kind of counterplay. The knight can go to c4, and I just wanted to take it slow. Yeah, I'm just making slow progress everywhere. Here, computer wants to play rook e2, exchange the rooks, and somehow magically, white actually has some chances to hold. It's kind of hard to believe. But yeah, like if you play against Stockfish, no matter how good your position is, it's not easy to beat. Yeah, white is just waiting. And yeah, I had many moments where I could have sacked my exchange for a pawn, for example here. Then I win on g3. But I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't want to give any chances from my opponent. And maybe it was a slight mistake. And yeah, finally I found some kind of plan here. I'm gonna play b5. First, protect my rooks, and b5 can't be stopped. Especially now that the bishop is on g2, not controlling b5. He tries to stop my progress, but he just loses the pawn. And now all I need to do is target the pawn on g3. He stops that idea for a while. Like I would like to double here, but the knight is kind of annoying, so I have to dance around a little bit. Here. Now bishop b7 is coming, attacking d5. So he plays king f2 with the idea of playing bishop g2 to defend the pawn. But now, just a simple check. He has to defend two things at the same time. And yeah, rook c3. g3 can't be defended. And he resigned. So overall, pretty nice game. Definitely not perfect, but um, yeah, I'm still kind of happy about it. Felt like it was fairly easy game, and my opponent played kind of like a strange chess. And the last round, I faced Toivo. I had to go for a win. The tournament only had 2 prizes. Toivo was half a point ahead of me. And Anastasia and Henry Lahdelma, they had the same amount of points, but you know those youngsters, the game will just never end in a draw. So I knew I have to go for the win. And yeah, it's not so easy to beat Toivo. That is the problem. C6, this kind of surprised me. I knew he plays accelerated dragon, but I think usually with knight c6 move order, though I'm not 100% sure, because usually Toivo plays the French. Here white could play c3, which is also really good option. But I knew more about the normal Marozzi bind, so I just went for this. Knight takes d4, strange. Let's say, yeah, kind of strange. Basically, his idea was to play a like an offbeat line to take me off guard, and he had some prep with this. So it's just kind of unusual because usually white gets to capture on d4 with the bishop, but here he has to capture with the queen. So it's just like very slightly different than usual. Queen d3. He had only looked at queen d2. So queen d3. This was the only move I knew. Um, so basically, I guess the queen is just like slightly better here, just defending e4, just defending more stuff. Because when the queen is on d2, I'm not really gonna play bishop h6. And I don't really need to worry about the b2 pawn. Black cannot play queen b6. Queen f5. So this was Toivo's prep against queen d2. So he didn't know what to do, so he repeated his prep anyway, which is kind of dangerous to do the same thing. Here he started shaking his head. So I started calculating some tactics, like maybe he missed something, but yeah, he just likes to shake his head and do some kind of noises. I don't know, like confuse the opponent, I guess. And I have to say, I calculated really badly here. I was calculating c5, d takes c5, e5, bishop f5, takes, 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 takes. This line. Black has 2 pawns. And the queen for white's 3 minor pieces. But black has just played rook d8. And I completely missed this in my calculations. I thought this was like this position, like kind of interesting for white, but still I feel like it's too risky with the 2 pawns. So I didn't go for this. But I have to say it's just really bad to miss this rook d8 move. So this is played safe, rook b1, rook fc8, b4. Computer wants some kind of b3 with the idea of maybe not playing b4. Like the bishop is worse on c6. But this is some, well, computer level chess. Rook bc1. My idea was that bishop e6 is coming, and I want to play knight e5. And if knight takes, I want to take with the e pawn. And then bishop f5 would attack the queen and the rook. So I have to put the p rook here on c1 on the half open file. This is what happened. Except knight d7. And yeah, I had like 3 different options here. I couldn't really decide. f4 I was thinking, bishop g5 and c5, which is what I played. And the reason why I had trouble is I just couldn't evaluate the position. It's just like too complicated. There's too many different options and they all look good. So c5 I kind of like because usually you can't get this in the Maroczy bind. But I feel like this can easily just lead to a lot of trades. Like Toivo will find some kind of active play and everything will get traded and then it's just a draw. And that's exactly actually what happens. But c5 is the computer's first choice. So there's that. a5 and I took on d6. So this was maybe a mistake. And I should have played the normal a3. Usually in the Maroczy bind, if in some positions, like let's say f4, a5, usually white should play b5 to keep the rook on a8 inactive. But now that I have already played c5, b5 is not possible. So a3 is kind of like the only natural way of keeping the tension at the maximum. And basically the reason why white is better here is that he has the knight on d5 and there's a weak pawn on b7. And black is kind of passive here. The bishop on g7 is also kind of hitting air here, not really doing anything. And if black ever takes on c5, b takes c5, then especially the b7 pawn is weak. I can easily attack it. But yeah, I didn't even consider. This was my plan. Take here, do this, go for the pawn. Idea is that queen a5, I have a knight e7, little fork. But yeah, this is just, yeah, too simplistic, let's say, to stop calculations here. He played knight c5. And yeah, this is tough. I managed to find something here to continue the game. Queen b5. And Toivo took on e4. There was another option of taking on d5. He takes d5 and bishop c3. And white is better, but he has to just give up the a5 pawn and then continue the game with the two bishops advantage. If white takes on c5, computer says that white even has to be a bit careful here with the extra pawn, because the pawn on d5 is kind of useless. I can never promote the a2 pawn. The a5 point is so well guarded that it's not going anywhere. And it's easy for black to attack white due to f2. He can play like queen f6, like bishop b6, rook c2. And there's gonna be a lot of pressure on f2. And I cannot do the same to f7 because there's the pawn on d5. So that was kind of like interesting to find out. Anyway, instead he took on e4, then I played bishop f3. He took on d5. He can play knight c5, but there are many things I can do here. I can just play this position with my two bishops, with my strong knight on d5, or I can do even tricks like this. This is what I found in the game. Forking the queen and the rook. Anyway, so Toivo played it safe. Knight c5. And I just quickly like play rook d1. I didn't even really think about this, which is definitely a mistake. I just thought, okay, whatever. He's gonna take on here. It doesn't really matter what I do. I'm gonna take on d6. Blah blah. But actually, I can just defend a5. Queen d2 or bishop d2. Just defend a5. Continue the game. d6 is weak. I have the two bishops. b7 is weak. If rook a, there's a6. Tactics like this. And yeah, I just didn't even consider it. Yeah, if I played queen d2, I think I really would have some good winning chances here in this game. But yeah, let's just play rook d1. And now one strong move from Toivo. Knight e6. Really annoying. Rook d8 is coming. There's very little I can do. a2 is hanging. I could maybe play something like this. Queen d5. Keep the pawns alive. But I looked at something like this. Rook d8. And like bishop d4. And I felt like, this is too easy for Toivo to draw. Maybe I'm wrong. Toivo said this was my only option in the game. We exchanged the pawns. I wanted to keep the queen's on, but yeah, it's kind of like not really leading to anything. Rook f8. Um, maybe a bit too passive there. Black had some other options. Okay, I just develop. I make some pawn moves, make some love to my king. Queen e2, queen e5. So I wanna avoid the trade, but he annoyingly offers the trade. So I have to do a little queen dance. And also I had to avoid so many things, like queen d7. There's like knight c5, forking the queen and the bishop, because I wanna avoid all trades. So I had to find the precise way of avoiding the trade, and I finally found it. And my idea was if queen b2, queen a7, very strange move, but it's actually fairly powerful here. Just controlling this diagonal here for defense purposes. Attacking f7, defending both my bishops. And if everything goes right, I can play like rook d5, bishop d5, and black is in some trouble. But of course that didn't happen. Toivo found a strong move, just a waiting move, and suddenly I had trouble finding a move here. I couldn't make anything work. Like everything was kind of dangerous. If king here, maybe he can take. If king g2, I started seeing all kinds of, tactics like this. Um, yeah, I was just also, yeah, I'm sure. Like basically, I don't know. I just didn't want to put my king on this diagonal. So I made a small blunder, rook d7, and I completely missed queen b5. I also missed queen a1, trading the queens. So queen b5 I completely missed. So this is a blunder because you just cannot miss stuff like this. And I was just lucky that I didn't lose. And Toivo was pissed that he didn't win. Rook d6. Bishop e5. Here there was computer suggested queen b4. And this was maybe more, this was kind of, I guess, trickier to face. Rook c6 and some kind of bishop d4. And then there's some kind of draw like this, but even that's not so easy to find. I might have lost even if he played queen b4. So yeah, rook d7 is just a really big blunder. Easy to lose games like that in time trouble. But he played here. I played bishop a6. Even rook e6 was possible. Somehow magically being a draw. I think it was something like bishop e3. And then there are stuff like queen d6 and bishop d4 is coming. And it's really annoying for black. Anyway, I just played the simple bishop a6. Queen b2. And I got this endgame. And now I was happy because once again I can hope for something at least. Now I can play for a little bit because I have the two bishops. So h5. I've been waiting to play this move for a long time. Just kind of like annoying black. I don't really aim to take on g6. I'm just like waiting for black to do something about it. Bishop a3, rook c6, king g7, rook e3. I think computer was saying something like g4. And just take back. And if king h6, just defend the pawn. The knight is pinned. Next I can check. Instead I played bishop e3, stopping king h6. But now he just takes. And it's not so easy for me to get the pawn back on h5. Rook a6. I guess a mistake. I should have played something slower like king g2. But yeah, I guess I misevaluated Toivo's next move. Bishop c5. Even Stockfish says this is like a mistake. like a slight mistake, but in reality, it kind of kills the game. So I have this tactic, rook e6, bishop c5. And if black plays rook c6, I have bishop d4. But this endgame, it's actually just a draw. So if it checks, and if I now move my king up, then h4 takes, rook e4, double attack, easy draw. So I play bishop f1, h4 anyway. I play g4. I should have taken. There were still some. I kind of missed something. I think I missed after rook e4. I missed h5 maybe. And there are some tactics like this. Like you can play like bishop d3, maybe aiming to win the h7 pawn. But like Toivo said after the game, even if I win h7, it should be an easy draw for black. I cannot really do anything. Yeah, the pawn on f2 is not really going anywhere, but at least I could have played another 50 moves, I guess. Well, instead I tried g4. The idea is h3, bishop d6, and then play like king f3, king f2, take the pawn on h3 and play for the win. But Toivo plays h5, exchanging more pawns. f3 takes rook f5. I mean, there were many ways to draw already. f5, yeah, there's nothing anymore. Takes. Yeah. Somewhat disappointing. But Toivo is very slippery. Like an eel. Just cannot kill him. Have to be very, very precise. And usually in tournaments, weekend tournaments, 3 people get prizes. But yeah, in this one only 2. Toivo won, I think, was it 300? Would be nice. Would cover the costs of going to Helsinki and using a hotel. Oh well, it was still fine. I think I gained some rating points. I haven't calculated, but I should have. So it was a fine tournament. But still, like someday I would like to win Toivo in a classical game. Until then, bye bye.